Peace everyone, I'm Dr. Anderson Smith, and today's presentation is about I see myself using spoken word poetry to reimagine identity. So, stay tuned.
Slangs like the memories of our past. Our history, our scars, our reminders that were meant to last, our past hours reincarnated back to haunt. Flames like our struggles, our lessons, our shepherds that we shall not want. Before iPods, we had MP3s. Before MP3s, we had CDs. Before CDs, we listened to cassette tapes. And before we used rotating blinds, we walked through heated drips. You remember those days? Flames like the memories of our past, our history, our scars, our reminders that were meant to last, our past hours reincarnated back to haunt. Flames like our struggles, our lessons, our shepherds that we shall not want. Before Nintendo DS, there was SP. Before SP, we played Game Boy Advance. Before I realized what they were doing, I knew that Sega didn't stand a chance. Before Dave Chappelle, there was Eddie Murphy. Before Eddie Murphy, we laughed at Richard Pryor. Before we even had a chance to speak, we were all labeled liars. Before I could work, before I had a job, I was presented with money. Before we broke out the Robitussin, we mixed up what? Lemon and honey. You remember those days? Flames like the memories of our past, our history, our scars, our reminders that were meant to last, our past hours reincarnated back to haunt. Flames like our struggles, our lessons, our shepherds that we shall not want. Flames like seconds, like minutes, like hours, like mystery. They ask me where I come from. I tell them that my past is history. Flames like the memories of our past, like Big, like Pac, like the music that was meant to last, like the Ozzy Brothers, like 8 tracks or whatever the track is called because I wasn't born yet. Flames like us. Like me, like them, like me, like us, like flames like the memories of our past, like tomorrow, like next week, like the memories that will become the past, like knowledge, like books, like the prophet, a second chance at a first impression. Let me ask you, you know who Easy Rollins is? Generations of Flame, Family Matters, Married with Children, Harlem Nights, Coming to America, Tracy Chapman, The Blue Star, The Color Purple. Flames like the memories of our past. Flames like our history, our scars, our reminders that were meant to last. Flames like our past hours reincarnated back to haunt. Flames like our struggles, our lessons, our shepherds that we shall not want. And before all of that, it was us. Before cell phones, before beepers, before I placed my feet in name brand sneakers, it was us. So you know that I wrote like I was a member of that group, but I spoke. When I spoke, I was their leader. With my right hand, I fed them knowledge. That's why they call me the mind feeder. You see, we move like our hands. Like our hands that move like us. Before the lies, before fake news, there was once a thing called trust. You know that I wrote like I was a member of that group, but I spoke. When I spoke, I was their leader with my right hand. That's W-R-I-T-E hand. I fed them knowledge. That's why they call me the mind feeder. You see me? Peace, y'all. What's going on? Yes? We here? Had to cut it short because they cut me short, so let's get to the Bronx. The Bronx, where I'm talking to you all from, now occupies the ancestral, traditional, and contemporary lands of the humanoid. Part important of making land acknowledgments is to recognize how institutional systems of power have oppressed indigenous people and how that oppression has historically influenced the way non-indigenous people perceive indigenous people, all still quite prevalent in today's cultural, political, social climate. So when I talk about land, when we talk about land is a part of who we are. It's the mixture of our blood. It is our designer luggage. We carry our ancestors in us and around us. So, peace everyone. Again, good afternoon. I am Dr. Anderson Smith. I received my PhD in English education from Teachers College, Columbia University. I'm also born and raised in the Bronx, still live in the Bronx. So definitely, I teach in both medium and maximum security prisons in New York. I am also the Assistant Director for Research Compliance Education at Columbia University. And my research interests align with self-reflection and resilience that emerge through active participation in digital book club communities. So my topic today is I see myself using spoken word poetry to reimagine identity. So, the good Dr. Carter G. Woodson says that when you control a man's thinking,
You don't have to worry about his actions. You don't have to tell him not to stand here or go yonder. He will find his proper place and will stay in it. You do not need to send him to the back door. He will go without being told. In fact, if there is no back door, he will cut one for his special benefit. His education makes it necessary. So what's Mr. Woodson talking about here?
Exactly what's happening in my school district.
Go ahead, explain.
I teach in Miami-Dade County Schools.
Yes.
I teach in that same community with the same parents who had an objection to Amanda Gorman's book, poem, speech. And I get it, but I don't get it. I get it because I know what it's all about. It's
Yes.
controlling. If I teach them a specific philosophy and nothing else, then I can keep them where I need to keep them.
Exactly.
Because they've been trying to come out of place.
Yes, yes. So Paulo Freire refers to it as banking education, right? When we tell a person how to think and what to think, we strip them of their identities. And they are no longer people at that point. They are objects, right? So now you get to control them, you strip them from their creativity, their individuality. They no longer know who they are, therefore they no longer know how to operate in society. So, as we consider these objectives here, my aim is to encourage self-reflection, promote self-expression, and foster personal growth and self-acceptance. What I really want you to get from this workshop today, truly, is what do others have to gain from your humanity? That's the question that I really want you to hold. Now, what I'd like for you to do is take out your smartphone, scan this, and you're going to be brought to a site where it's going to ask you to type in top 3 responses. What I'm looking for is what comes to mind when we're thinking of identity. What comes to mind? So scan this, and then you're going to be brought to the site. And then I'll shift over there. Go ahead, everybody's good. Beauty, me, I love that. Unique. Any other thoughts? So what we did right now, we're thinking about identity, words that come to mind with identity. We're creating a word cloud. Of all things, legacy, I love that. Neighborhood, purpose, hope. This is great. Let's keep this up, and we're gonna go to the next slide here. So what I did was I wanted to make this as interactive of a presentation as possible. So now, all you had to do, you don't have to rescan this, but we're choosing a path of where this presentation, this workshop is going to go. So in essence, these are 3 different presentations that I've created for this particular experience. And for those that are just joining us, all you have to do is scan this QR code, choose a path. So what we have is relationships. We have music, musical identity, right? Our relationship identity, and then we have our social identity. So what we're voting on is that, and the way you vote is going to depend on, oh, everybody wants to go relationships. All right, music identity. All right, where we go? Oh, more music, okay.
I didn't get to vote yet.
You didn't get to vote yet, so where we going? We got one for social. Oh,
I can't.
is that everyone? All the votes are in?
No, what?
All the votes are in? I'm in early, so sorry. So again, depending on how you vote is depending on how we are going to go and where we're going to go. Looks like we're going to music. All right, it's okay. I'm okay with that. If you're okay with it, we are okay with it. We'll go to music. So what we do here is click on here. Now, opening discussion. I want you to turn to the people at your table, right? How does our music identity shape our sense of self and influence our connection with others? And while you're doing that and discussing that, we'll take about 3 minutes for that conversation. I am going to pass out what we're going to be doing. Oh yes, of course, introduce yourself too.
you know, it helps you in stuff like that. Music helps you like build community with less. You know, it helps you in stuff like that. Music helps you like build.
We're gonna work with these later, so keep going, keep going. I want to hear these great conversations. All right, let's bring it back. So now, in front of you, as you all were talking, I passed out a bubble map and an anticipation guide. So for this next activity, this is what we call a scaffolding activity, where the aim is to get you to think metacognitively, but also to provide a reference point for a future activity. So we're going to complete this together. And again, I don't have much time, so I want you to kind of shorthand your responses, and you're not going to be sharing these responses on your bubble map. We're going to be working with our bubble map first. So we're going to go through this together. The first bubble I want you to complete is on genre, the genre bubble. Now, enter the genre of music that most resonates with your musical identity. And this could be hip hop, it could be jazz, it could be country, so on. Just identify one. All right, moving on.
Yeah.
The musical influence category focuses on the artist, band, or composer who have had a significant impact on your music identity. Consider the musicians whose work has inspired and shaped your musical preference. And again, we're just putting one answer. And we're not sharing this, again.
I don't know why I was overthinking.
Good? All right. The emotional connection category explores the emotional responses and connections you experience through music. Now, consider the types of music that evoke specific emotions or have a deep personal meaning to you. Just select one for this space. Moving on to music discovery category. This category focuses on how you discover and explore new music. Consider the source, the platform, or methods you use to find new artists, albums, or songs, and put one into this bowl. Okay, moving on. The concerts and live performance category encompasses your experiences attending concerts or live performances, including memorable concerts, festivals, or musical events that have contributed to your music identity. And if you've never been to a concert, imagine, right, if you would go, who would it be?
We have to pick the name of a concert or the person we want to see?
The person that you'd want to see. One person, just one. Make it tough. All right, three more. Next category is music as social connection. This category explores how music connects you with others. Consider the shared musical experiences, conversations, or community that have enriched your music identity. Two more. Lyrics and meaning. This category involves the significance of lyrics and the message conveyed through music. Include the song or lyric that resonates with you personally or have influenced your worldview. And again, we're not writing the whole lyric, right? We're just writing the name of the song, or maybe if you don't know the name of the song, maybe you know the chorus, right? Good. Last, music and personal expression. This category explores how music allows you to express your creatively or emotionally, right? How does it create you creatively or emotionally? Consider how music enables you to convey your thoughts, feelings, or experiences. The next handout I placed in front of you is called an anticipation guide. Anticipation guides are a great pre-read, pre-activity, like something for you to do just to get your participants geared up to whatever heavy conversation that they're about to take part in and anticipate, right, what they're going to do. So we're going to only complete the complete before side, right? And what I want you to do is put A for agree, D for disagree. We're going to go through this together. So as I say it, then you just write your response. And what I don't want you to do is influence others, right? So keep it to yourself, right? And write A for agree if you do agree, or D for disagree. So Number 1, music has the power to shape one's cultural identity. Agree or disagree? There's no in between, so you can't put both, so please don't do that. Number 2, musical preference. That's my son calling me. He wants to know what's happening. Musical preferences are solely determined by one's social group membership. Number 3, music can provide a sense of belonging and connection to a larger community. Agree or disagree? Number 4, lyrics and messages conveyed through music have a universal impact on individual identity development. Number 5, exposure to diverse genres of music can broaden one's understanding of different cultures and perspectives. Agree or disagree? Number 6, identifying with certain music genres or artists is the only way to establish a sense of identity within social subcultures. Moving on. So again, unfortunately, due to time constraints, what I would normally do with an activity like this is I would play each poem, because these poems are so rich that you want to hear them twice because you missed something. But we won't be able to play them twice. I'm only going to play each poem once, but as I am playing it, I want you to write on the back of the piece of paper something that you found striking, how your emotions, any line that kind of is still sticking with you. Okay? Got it? And I am going to go ahead and dive into the first poem by Stephen Willis.
Ode to the boys who die to make hip-hop happen. Before this poem's end, this wound will drain and expand, and my ceased heartbeat will bleed into an instrumental. Shame, I had to die just to get my life on track. I was dipping, caught slipping. Now my life's on wax, but don't feel sorry for me. The ops caught me hanging off the 9 and click, click, bang, bang. I was Chief Keef ad-libbed into the afterlife, but ain't that your favorite part of the song? When Bobby catches the body, if you listen closely, you can hear my body drop before the beat does. And no, we never intended to be the muses to the world's most popular music. Just got a feel for that shit. Us baby-faced savages that's already born notorious and ready to die and cute enough for album covers. The stoke brings us wrapped in rags and parental advisory stickers. So here I am, God, a sacrifice for the culture, ready for my soul's release date, to be placed on an eternal screen, to be forever laid to rest in the casket-colored cassettes. I can hear it now. My demise gonna be the most requested at all the parties. Tell Big Mama her baby boy got his own hymn now. See, Mama smoked the bass, now I'm the boom daddy. Sip the liquor, now I'm a bar. That's not no record scratch, that's just me trying to come about this cat. We can try to unzip this body bag and join Nipsey. I said I can hear them now, cause I can hear them scream. I'm a hit, 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 I'm a hit.
All right, now we're gonna get into the second one, but we're gonna take a deep breath before we get into that one. All right, now again, listen to this poem, the next poem. Write down, underline anything that resonates with you. I want you to pay attention to how you feel. Santa Monica, California. Thank you.
Hey yo, why is it so uncool to smile? Since when did it become hip-hop's taboo? Cause I would be smiling all the time if I made even half of the money you do. Frowning like you just caught a face full of sun. How I miss the days when hip-hop was fun. When DJ Quick first burst on the scene. When Boys in the Hood was on the big screen. When Tupac Shakur was a dancer for Humpty. When Nasty Nas 5 mic'd in the monthly. When MC Breed painted the White House black. When Too Short retired and then came back. When Wyclef Jean asked out Mona Lisa. That's the era this poem will feature. I want to go to a show and not have to front. I fist a cuff, but I'd rather you pass the blunt. Let's just chill and enjoy the diversity. Let's get lost in the rhythm's uncertainty. It doesn't make you less hardcore if you shake your ass on the fucking dance floor. But somewhere along this road we made rules. And smiling became the weakness of a fool. And silence and anger became the norm. And that's when the party began to lose form. I reminisce about the glory that's gone. When happiness wasn't looked down upon. When EPMD crossed over with the crossover. When Tim Hardaway still had his crossover. I used to go to the store and buy classics. Now I go to the store and shit's plastic. I can't call it, I'm fiending for skill. Cause y'all might be dope, but I don't see your will. All I see is suckers pretending they're ill. Snapping photographs with a barbecue grill. Well, I can't relate to this lack of humanity. Music's as vulnerable as insanity. I remember when Fife was a sidekick. When gangster rap was still on the rise, kid. When De La Soul was reincarnated. When Freestyle Fellowship first circulated. When Run DMC wore Adidas sneakers. That's the era this poem will feature. From 86 to 95. When hip-hop was just too thick to describe. I strive to become it in every way. So I practiced religiously every day. On the bus ride home, folks thought I was schizo. In 8th grade, I wore more rayon than Cisco. Housing was in, and Mr. Dabalina could have caught a misdemeanor if he faked on his friends. See, we would rap until we were bored, with no cash advance or Grammy Award. My boys' club trophies cluttered my shelf. We'd no other reason but reason itself. So why is it so uncool to smile? Since when did it become hip-hop's taboo? Cause I would be smiling all the time if I made even half of the money you do. Frowning like you just caught a face full of sun. How I miss the days when hip-hop was fun. How I miss the days when hip-hop was fun. How I miss the days when hip-hop was one.
All right. So,
Hi, everyone.
that shouldn't have happened. Give me 1 second. Let me get back to the... We're going to split into 2 groups. So I'm going to have this side of the room as one group, this side of the room as another group, so if you all can kind of press together. We're going to talk amongst the groups. And I want you to answer these 3 questions. We're going to take 5 minutes to answer all 3 questions. 1, how are the 2 poems different? What does each speaker hope to achieve through their poem? And how and in what ways do these poems explore the fabric of identity one has in relationship to hip hop? 5 minutes, and I will sit the alarm right now.
I can start, since I'm in the chance of You were about to say something?
All right. Now, I want us to return back to our anticipation guides. We had a chance to hear the poems, go through our activity. We completed the before side. Now we're going to complete the after side of our anticipation guide. I'm going to read the questions out again. And again, A for agree, D for disagree. All right? Number 1, music has the power to shape one's cultural identity. Agree, disagree. Number 2, musical preferences are solely determined by one's social group membership. Number 3, music can provide a sense of belonging and connection to a larger community. Agree, disagree. Number 4, lyrics and messages conveyed through music have a universal impact on individual identity development. Number 5, exposure to diverse genres of music can broaden one's understanding of different cultures and perspectives. And finally, number 6. Identifying with certain music genres or artists is the only way to establish a sense of identity within a social subculture. Now, we're getting into an open discussion, but first, I'm interested to see if there's any discrepancies with you and your anticipation guide. From before to after, does anyone have, not to put anyone on the spot, if there is a discrepancy? I want to hear it.
So for the second question, I initially put agree,
Okay.
and then I changed it to disagree after thinking a little bit more and talking.
What made you, the conversation?
You said.
There was a conversation?
It was a conversation, something that I said, but the way I read it first, I didn't really think deeper, because I do know that musical preferences sometimes are determined by some people's cultural, their social group, right? They are not allowed to listen to other musical genres, but then I'm like, you know, we live in 2023, so people are finding ways and they're getting there.
Yes. Thank you so much for sharing it. Thank you for your vulnerability, your response. Any others? No? All right, so we're gonna go on. How are these two poems different? What sort of conversations we had around this? How are these two poems different?
For me, one was rooted in pain, anger, suffering. The other one was like, bring back the joy. What's going on? Like, hip hop is fun. It's happening. But yeah.
Yes. Thank you so much for sharing. Other thoughts on the first question?
Can I share what my
Of course.
table mate shared?
Of course.
We actually thought, and I think maybe I'm speaking collectively, that we kind of agreed with our table mate that the first poem from our identities, rooted in hip hop, was more accurate because that is the truth, according to our identity of understanding hip hop, that it is rooted in pain. And when he said, you know, our death had to get my life back on track, and other people listened to it, and from the outside, you know, are bouncing to it. They're bouncing to it, and they're bouncing to it, and they're having fun. But the reality of it is that it is rooted in some form of sadness and pain. But I think for me, the fun part is that there is a collectivism, the fact that we can commiserate and then we can enjoy the bops and so forth, and then also share in our own mutual pains and things that we identify with that are similar. Like she gave the example of like Queen Latifah back in the days having to speak up for us, and we're like, yeah, speak up, you know, because we all share that same like, why is all the songs talking about us using this language, and then here comes Queen Latifah, and yes, now we're enjoying it a bit. But the reality is, there's a lot of people who, you know, had to go through things, and it's those words that they spoke that created the genre that it is.
And now we have Ice Spice and
And Taylor Swift
Come away.
on the same song.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for sharing. What does each speaker hope to achieve through their poem? What do they hope to achieve? Ode to the boys who died to make hip hop happen. When hip hop was fun. What do they hope to achieve?
I feel like they hope to achieve an awareness of how hip hop has evolved based on their personal experience with hip hop. And the ode to the people that died, to me, is more like a tribute to some of our fallen soldiers when they were trying to get the genre out and express and represent the genre and how the culture has taken some lives from us. But I think his name is INQ.
Yeah.
He is talking about more of how it's just evolved, and I guess it's based on your experience, because I still think that some parts of hip hop is fun. Like we talked about De La Soul and Tropical Quest, and different groups that we resonate with, but it's based on your preference. And it's based on your journey, right? With your exposure, where you live, where you come up, and your exposure to hip hop. So to me, it's like more of an awareness. And there was, they had things to say. Like he said, when hip hop was fun, he said, I used to go to the store to buy classics. Now things are plastic. I'm an older person, and I kind of feel that way. I still resonate with like 90s and music, hip hop, when the old school hip hop, and not so much newer hip hop. Although we do listen to it, I don't see the classic, and I guess that's based on my journey, my experience, my age. So it's just an awareness of their own personal journey.
Bumping Chief Keef?
Yeah. I mean, I like people. I do. Right. It's just not as many.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that. Any other thoughts on it? Second question. Finally, how and in what ways do these poems explore the fabric of identity one has in relation to hip hop? You can go again.
I was just gonna say, INQ again. I don't think that he has experienced some of the struggles that Stephen Willis has. I don't think he has experienced some of the trauma or connected to the trauma that Stephen has felt.
That's right.
So that's what in their identity, I see that difference.
Yes.
Yeah, that came up in our group discussion as well, but I have also added that, many identities came to create hip hop. So LGBTQ, Latinx people, Black, African, all of that actually created hip hop. So when IQ talked about hip hop was one, I see how it is that, but then we also looked at, all right, one person is a Black male, not quite sure who INQ is, what he identifies as, but there's a pain in one, and then there's one who's like, I just want to have fun and be and dance and vibe, and it's two different stories happening.
I think that second one also feels a little prescriptive or dictative. So if he's saying like, this hip hop needs to be from me so I can be able to enjoy it. Like it needs to serve me in that way. But something that stuck out to me that he kept saying, and it came to me as we were talking in our group, is that he kept talking about money over and over and over. And I think oftentimes when you talk about communities in color and there's beautiful social justice work and advocating, and then there's understanding finance and business, and those two don't always come together as they should. And it just struck me to have him as a white man talking about the money piece over and over and over.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, of course.
I like being a business advocate. So coming from, I'm from the islands, born and raised in Grenada. So we weren't really exposed to hip hop as how we're from America was exposed to hip hop. So what we got in the islands as hip hop maybe would have been maybe the same version of hip hop that INQ got. So we got the fun part of hip hop. We weren't told or taught or shown the violence part of hip hop. So I didn't know about that part until, I migrated to the US, so I got older. So maybe based on where he's from, could be similar to me, that you get the fun part of it, so that also shapes your identity different than, based on where you're coming from.
It's a very, very important point.
Yeah.
The way you grow up affects the way you consume hip-hop. Indeed. What lines stuck out to you all?
What lines?
What lines from these poems? Let's call them up.
I had to die just to get my life on track.
Yeah.
The sacrifice for the culture.
Yes. That was my
I'm a
choice.
hit to I'm hit. Hit that transition.
Uh-huh.
Yes, that was a good
Let's get
one.
lost in the rhythm's uncertainty.
The one that gave me goosebumps was you can hear my body drop before the beat does.
Yes.
Yeah. And the others? No? So, if this were a longer session, right, I would ask you to write me something, say, imagine a world without music.
No, thank you.
What would be missing from your life?
Oh.
Reflect on the impact that music has on your emotions, relationships, and overall sense of well-being. Yeah.
I
And then we'd unpack it, and I'm like, oh, good job.
I did build some Q&A, but I did want you to bring your attention to here. Share here to evaluate me and my presentation. Right? I'd love to get that. I'd love to stay in contact with you because we are a community, and I believe that if we do learn something, we learn something in the context of our lived environment, right? And knowledge is a shared thing. So that's what it's all about. Please keep in touch with me. Shoot me an email. I am here, and I'd love to, see what you thought. And now I'd like to open up for some questions.